They say there's a village hidden deep in the woods where no one dares to go anymore. It's a place swallowed by darkness, where time seems to have stopped and the air carries whispers of unspeakable horrors. This is the story of the cursed village of Ram. Ram was once a thriving village bustling with life, nestled between dense forests and a winding river. It was remote, far from the eyes of the world, and that's exactly how the villagers liked it. They lived in peace for centuries, their simple lives untouched by the chaos of the outside world. One day, everything changed. It began with a stranger, a wanderer who came from the north. He was a tall man, draped in tattered robes, his face hidden beneath a hood, his voice as cold as the wind that howled through the forest. The villagers welcomed him, offered him food and shelter, as was their custom with travelers. But the stranger was different. He never showed his face, not even to the innkeeper who housed him for the night. Next morning, the village awoke to find the stranger gone, and in his place, something far more sinister had been left behind. At the center of the village square, where the stone well stood, a strange symbol was etched into the ground, a mark no one could recognize. The air around it felt wrong, thick, as though the very fabric of reality was twisting, tearing. Haunting begins. At first, it was small things. Crops withered overnight, animals refused to leave their barns, and the once clear water of the village well turned dark, almost black, like ink. Villagers tried to go about their lives, convincing themselves it was just bad luck. But deep down, they knew something had changed. Then, the nightmares began. Every night, the villagers were tormented by the same terrifying dream. They saw the stranger standing at the edge of the forest, his hood still drawn, watching, always watching. But there was something more. In the dreams, they were drawn toward him, helpless to resist, as if something unseen was pulling them closer. And every time they reached him, a suffocating darkness swallowed them whole. By dawn, some would wake, drenched in sweat, gasping for breath. Didn't wake at all. Those who died in their sleep were found with expressions frozen in terror, their eyes wide open, as if they had seen something unspeakable in their final moments. Descent into madness. The village elder, a wise man named Vishnu, knew they had to act. He gathered the remaining villagers and told them of an ancient ritual that might lift the curse. But it required sacrifice, a sacrifice of blood. Desperate, the villagers agreed, and under the elder's guidance, they sought out an animal to offer to the gods. But the ritual failed, and the curse grew stronger. Each night, more and more villagers vanished, leaving behind nothing but their empty homes. Those who remained spoke of hearing voices in the night, whispers coming from the forest, calling them by name. The forest that once protected them now seemed alive with malice. Trees twisted unnaturally, casting long shadows that stretched toward the village like grasping hands. Fear turned into madness. Families locked themselves inside their homes, barricading doors and windows, but it was no use. The whispers came for them all. Some were found wandering into the woods as if possessed, their faces blank, their eyes glazed over. None of them ever returned. The final night. By the time the final night arrived, only a handful of villagers remained. Vishnu, now a frail old man, believed he could end the curse by confronting the source, the stranger who brought it upon them. Armed with nothing but a torch and his prayers, he ventured alone into the forest. Hours passed, and the village was silent. Then, just before dawn, a figure emerged from the woods. It was Vishnu. Something was wrong. His eyes were black as coal, and his skin pale as death. He did not speak. He simply stood in the center of the village, staring at the remaining souls who cowered in their homes. One by one, they came out, as if drawn to him, unable to resist. As the first light of day broke over the horizon, the village of Ram fell silent. The wind ceased to blow. The birds no longer sang. The curse had claimed them all. To this day, the village of Ram remains abandoned, overgrown, and forgotten. But those who pass near its borders speak of strange sounds at night, the faint whispers carried on the wind, calling out to anyone who dares to listen. They say if you enter the village after dark, you'll never leave, for the stranger is still there, waiting for his next victim. And some claim that if you listen closely, you can hear the cries of the villagers, still trapped in the curse, forever lost in the darkness. So, if you ever find yourself deep in the woods,
and you stumble upon a forgotten village, be careful. You may never find your way out.